Hey, welcome to Dog Talk Live. Can you believe we are at 50 Dog Talk Lives? It is Monday. It is winter again here in Wisconsin. We had snow this weekend. I was out working the dogs today, and I had to take a break in between dogs because my fingers had turned blue because we were doing some water retrieves. I cannot get over the crazy weather in my home state of Wisconsin. As I'm getting attacked by dogs here, Memphis wants to come on because, of course, she is the co-host of Dog Talk Live. She wants to sit on my lap, block the camera, and act like she owns me because I'm her human. So she is doing wonderful. The dogs are doing great. I hope everyone had a nice weekend. And please adhere to our rules. Let us know when you are checking in where you're from. Let us know what questions you have. Dog Talk Lives are only as good as the questions that we get from you. So, Memphis, let's see if we can get her to sit. There we go. So I can actually see the camera. I hope everyone had a good weekend. This week, working with the dogs is going to be a little challenging. I would say I probably... of it. I'm going to get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as solid days. Hello from Wisconsin, and I feel it's going to be a pretty wet week. So I'm going to work on running out of a dog hut today. We did that. We were going to go back and revisit it and just have the dogs go in there just for fun. Ran marks, or hand-thrown marks, a mark being thrown retrieve that the dog sees. Just running them out of, I guess, what they would see in hunting so that they get more experience as the dogs are just slamming around the house. Let's see. Training my hunting dog today. That's awesome. If you have any questions, let us know. The other thing I worked on was healing. Healing is a very important thing to do with your dogs. That is an easy thing to do if you don't have the best weather. Today was cold, so we did a certain amount of retrieves on water. Then the dogs were wet. I didn't want to put them back in the water. They did great on the retrieves. So made the decision that we were going to work on healing. So that is just working with the dog. They're at the point where I'm trying to get them to do everything according to how I want with no leash on. Now, you get e-collars in dogs, electric collars, and they'll have the really long extra part of the collar, and they tell you to cut that off. I don't actually. I will use that as basically like a little lead if I need to move the dogs to where I want them to go. So I'll just grab the end of the collar and hold it, and I can kind of direct them. But trying to get the dogs so that they are sitting right away when you say, so that their spine is in line with where your foot's pointed. So you're getting them so that they're completely in line. The reason you're doing that is so that when they go out on a retrieve, they're going to be set up for success. As we send them off for retrieves, humans stand, 5 feet tall. We can see where something lands. Well, if you're down at the dog's level, there could be a tuft of grass, a bush, or something in the way. If it is directly in the way of the sight and they don't see it land behind it, they think that it landed right in it. So if a dog takes off and has to bend because maybe they're pointed the wrong direction and then they have to bend to get onto their line, when they get to where they think the retrieving item is, you will actually have where they can keep hunting and just keep going right by on the wrong trajectory. So if you line them up and they're going straight at something to retrieve it, if they get stuck, they'll start to hunt in concentric circles, and generally speaking, they'll be in a better position to have success. Yeah, I apologize. Been a long couple of days here. But yes, it is something that works well. It is a quick, easy little drill, and it is something that is, it's needed, and it's control for the dogs that you're setting them up for success in the field. All right, Chris from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Best way you have found to get a dog back into a boat, dog ladder or picking them up? Chris, I haven't hunted a lot out of boats. I don't own one. Never did. That was one of the things I never hunted waterfowl on water enough where I had a boat. So anytime I could hunt, one, my dogs wouldn't have known what a dog ladder was because we didn't hunt it that often. So when we did hunt out of a boat, I would just grab the back of their vest, or you can grab the scruff of their neck and the scruff of their butt, and you can pick them up and put them in. People will see you do that and they think, oh my God, you're being mean to the dog. It doesn't hurt them. When you put them into a truck topper, if you watch trainers, they'll grab their butt and their scruff on their neck, and they'll just lift them up and put them in. Dogs do not have the same, their skin is not, their hide is not like skin. It's not loaded with a bunch of different pain receptors, and it doesn't cause them pain to pick them up by the back of their rear end. So I just use where you're pulling them up in. A lot of the got Scarlett just hammering me now. A lot of the dog vests that are out there actually have. Come here, Scarlett. You want to say hi, Scarlett? Come here. A lot of the dog vests have a handle on them. Whoop, All right, Scarlett is here now. She's as tall as Memphis when she's standing on the floor, and is up on my shoulder. Not on my lap. So she is the one that we call the big puppy in the house. She is just a big old play dog that loves to bring toys, loves to chew in your hand, and loves to play with the other dogs. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see. Is it normal for a lab to eat grass? Yeah, labs do. I'm constantly telling my dogs they're not cows, that they are labs. So that is something that you can very much struggle with. Let's see. What is the best way to get your dog to jump into the water if the dog hates water? Someone on YouTube asked that. Getting a dog to go into water, you never want to force them into water. If you throwing them into water will do nothing but reinforce why they don't like it. Find a time when the water is warmer. Even now, the water is still fairly cold. So if a dog has something they don't want to do and then it's unpleasant on top of it, that is going to they're going to not like it. So you can have warmer water. So wait until June, put waders on, and you can actually walk out, and you could have a leash on the dog and just, hey, you're fine, and be real reassuring, and walk out with the dog so the dog understands, hey, this isn't so bad. You could just walk out into the water yourself. Again, this is all going to depend on your dog. Walk out into the water yourself and let the dog follow you. To get dogs in water, will use other dogs. So I will get dogs retrieving bumpers and then eventually just throw the bumpers into the pond. And the other dogs that haven't been in yet or were apprehensive to go in, see that bumper out there, and they are like, oh my gosh, I got to get the bumper before the other dog, and they eventually go in. So that is how we do that. Braden from South Dakota, welcome. How you doing there, Mr. Mark? Good to see you. All right, he is a black lab. All right, so that answers all the questions that we have right now on YouTube. So I'm trying to keep up here. Mike Cochran, are there any books or resources on training you recommend reading or watching prior to getting your first hunting dog? Mike, Tom Dokken has a good book. I know there are other good series and books out there. I have Mike Lardy's Total Retriever Training, which is a DVD series. It's very expensive. There probably are cheaper options than that. But Tom is a good guy and has a good book, so that would be a good one to start with. I know there are a lot of different video series and books out there. I'm a book guy, and I started with Tritronics Retriever Training by the Dobbs family. What I liked was it was short steps that were easy to read. So it was do this, and I understood it. And you just go step by step through it. What ends up happening if you have too many books, you'll have pretty much the same information, but maybe different steps or different sequence, and you're all over the map. So pick one and then go with it. The other thing I will tell people that I see all the time, do not use Facebook for your dog training prowess. I see people that are asking questions all the time. I stay out of the posts because you see stuff that you know is just categorically wrong, where people are telling people to cut corners and do different things. I try to help people if they ask, but I don't get involved in the Facebook stuff. But when you are asking for help on a training item or a problem with your dog on Facebook, you'll get 100 different ideas. And it's not that they're all wrong, but again, you need to find one idea and work with it so that you're working in sequence and so that you're putting your dog in a position to succeed. The number one thing that I will always tell my clients is that it comes down to having enough negative consequence, your stick, being a big stick, which is using your e-collar and your different measures of negative enforcement, and then being over the top with the carrot. So you've got this dichotomy where you're not in here, you're way out here. And that is going to put the dogs in a position where it's easier for them to choose the correct one that you want, because they're getting corrected with a collar if they don't do it, and then you're giving them over the top praise with your voice inflection, your body language, that they think, oh my gosh, this is so great, this is what I want to do, as I got dogs howling to go outside. All right, let's see. Any recommendations for e-collar training? Chris, if you buy collars, they will all generally have an instruction in there. With e-collars, you want to do something called, got another dog trying to come up on my lap. You want to do something called e-collar conditioning, and e-collar conditioning is teaching the dog how to turn the collar off, and ultimately where they don't even think it's the collar that's shocking them, it's their bad behavior. So it is taking your collar and not just putting it on them and using it right away, because if you're doing that, you're using the collar for punishment, not as a training tool. You need to teach the dog how to turn a collar off, which makes it so that they are being trained and not punished, and that is something you do with something called e-collar conditioning, which every collar will come with an explanation or book on how to do that. All right, so yeah, as you guys check in, please let us know where you're from. Please let me know what questions you have. Facebook Live, we usually do between 15 and 30 minutes. We don't drag it out too long, and we just try to help people out and help people get involved with dogs and dogs in the field. It is incumbent on me to tell everyone, if you have something you don't want to ask, you can always email me, sportingdogtv@gmail.com. We've got usually a couple times a week where we get people that will ask questions. I get it. It's people don't want to feel dumb. You're not dumb if you're working with animals, because quite honestly, even what some people think is a stupid question is probably a good one, because all dogs are different. You always run into headaches with any group of dogs I have in. Not one dog is the same. It is something where it's something you're just working yourself through and reading the dog and reading the dog's body language so you can understand how to move forward with that specific dog. All right. As far as if you are watching this after the fact, as my dog is slamming into the table, if you're watching this after the fact, feel free to type in your question as a comment, and I'll come back and check. We always come back and check a few times in a day, and try to help you guys out with whatever questions there are. I'm trying to do this every day of the week. Last week I missed a couple of days, had some bigger projects. We're doing a kennel expansion and some other things that I had to do. But this week looks fairly solid, so hopefully I can be on every day. I try to do the afternoons between like probably 1 and 2 o'clock if I can. There's a few times when I've done mornings. There's a few times when I do a little bit later afternoon. I do not do evenings on this because I have to shut her down at some point and not work all the time. So I hope you guys understand that. Again, let us know where you're from. Let us know what questions you have. Advice on crate whining. Chris, if you are letting a puppy get you to go over to the crate and take him out whenever he's whining, it's no different than a baby crying. I had some people the other day, as my dog's mauling me, that were asking about their dog, and said, yeah, like 4:30 in the morning, the dog was wanting to go out. They would let the dog out. The dog wouldn't go. The dog would go and drink water and then want to play. I asked what their dog's name was. They told me, and I told them, congratulations, your dog has trained you. With whining, your best to do is just tell them to quiet. You can grab them by the muzzle, squeeze a little bit, tell them quiet, and just ignore them. If you do go and let them out every time they whine, you are going to basically turn into having Pavlov's dog of whining, where they understand that when they whine, what they want. So it is something that you just have to work through. It's a puppy thing, and it's just one of those deals you got to work through. Evening from the UK. Hello. We're Trekker. Let's see. Listen to all your areas to get the best for us. Well, thanks for listening, Chad. It's good to have you on here. Welcome to Dog Talk Live. What is your policy methodology for introducing your dogs to other dogs? Do all your dogs always get along with each other? That's from Beth. Beth, when I have dogs in for training, I put them all out together. They figure it out. It's a 90 by 90 arena. You do keep an eye on them because you don't want dogs that are basically getting into physical altercations. But when it comes down to it, if we have a dog that is an aggressive dog here, we don't have them here. I mean, my life is too short to break up dog fights. I still have all 10 of my fingers, so that's a good thing. And it is something that, as the dogs are playing in the background, it is something that we want to make sure that they're all good citizens. Does that mean that they don't have a breaking in period? Absolutely. If you watch a new dog come into a group of 5 or 6 dogs that have been in the kennel, you get to learn all about dogs. Yeah, watching their mannerisms, watching their submissiveness, watching them try to assert themselves, watching how they talk to each other through their body language, through their noise, the noises they make, posturing. It is very interesting, and it's taught me a lot for training, watching how dogs talk to each other and how dogs deal with each other. When you have a puppy that is annoying, the older dog eventually will growl at them, maybe swat them with a paw, and eventually grab onto them by the muzzle. That is why when you do training, it's all muzzle, ears, neck, because that's where dogs grab each other when they're trying to impose a point on another member. It is just once they figure out their hierarchy, the problem/crisis is averted. But it is something that needs to happen because you can't be there all the time. I already answered your question there, Mr. On the Fly Danny, about going in the water. You might want to go back and rewatch the video. I don't know if it had a glitch or not, but we use other dogs to get dogs into water, and you can also put waders on. But I talked about your question already, so go back and rewatch. It probably would have been right after you posted it, and it should be in there. As you guys come along, please let me know what more questions you have. We are at 17 and a half minutes, so if we don't get any other questions, this will be last call. We're going to call it for the day because I got to go out and do some work. But again, we'll be here every day. We want to help you guys out. We want to get more people involved in dogs. We've had some issues on the page. I think it's social media overall, but everyone's got to stop with the negative comments towards each other. We protect our page. We protect the people that are on our page, and I honestly don't take anyone's BS. So if you have a negative comment where you're going to be upset about a picture, or be upset about someone hunting, or be upset about a certain breed, or we had one where there was a Donald Trump poster in the background of a beautiful picture, so of course it wasn't about the picture, it was about politics. I'm not going to tolerate it. Just want people to move on. If we wanted to talk about politics, we absolutely could, but I think there's enough on Facebook that are doing that. With that said, if there's something that I feel is appropriate or I want to post, it's a private page. So everyone needs to realize you have the ability to unlike a page. You have the ability to scroll past things. You're not going to agree with everybody and everything, but if you think you're going to come on to our page as in all of us, and try to impose your will, it's not going to happen. So, don't worry about getting yourself upset. Take yourself to another page. So that's just my thing for everyone today, because we had a bunch of issues this year. I've banned more people in the last 3 days off the page than I have probably in a month, and it's pretty crazy. Let's see here. Thanks for the puppy video Saturday, Chris said. Chris, I'll try to get another one up. Rich, Memphis was on. You missed her. No, you didn't. Come here, Memphis. Say hi. All right, say hi to Rich. All right. Memphis is loving being on the page, loving being on the on Dog Talk Live as the co-host to the event. Here she is. She's not looking there. Memphis, you're supposed to look at everyone else. She is literally sitting up on my lap, and I'm holding her paws so she doesn't fall over. Very trusting. So, All right, we're going to get you down because I got to see if we get any other questions. Come on. There we go. Well, that's going to be it for Dog Talk Live today. I hope that everyone had a great day and takes care. God bless.